I went to the grocery store like this earlier today. Ain't that amazing? I got some looks from the general pop, I tell you what. No thumbs down. No thumbs down. Not one thumb down. 10 people. That's a beautiful hat, man. That's a beautiful hat, man. 10 people. And I said, you know how much I paid for it? $3.
You're not just a pimp. You're a super pimp with that.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. You know why I do this stuff? I do this to show people that there's no safety in numbers. All you have is you. And if you're afraid of walking alone, then you're your biggest problem.
I'm about to find that out. My best and only friend just died, so now I gotta do it by myself.
The man. The man that fractures alone, breaks alone, heals alone, recovers alone, learns to walk alone, is the scariest man in the room. Because he doesn't need anybody. Everybody needs him. And isn't that fucking funny? I'm the poorest man, but yet everybody owes me money. They don't want to pay me. They think I'm sexist or racist. They got feelings and concerns, but when did they have empathy or feelings and concerns that matched my own? Or when did they ask me about my feelings and concerns? Never. So automatically, the majority get to come into my home, my life, my reality, and assume their positions over my head without my consent. You're out of your goddamn mind. Out of your goddamn mind. I understand how they operate, and I'm here to save everyone's neck. You know what professionals like to do? Manipulate the law for a political profit or a personal one. The minute you start voting for yourself is the minute everybody else is losing their shit.
Let me figure out which microphone is on. Does this sound loud, or do I need to walk?
Oh, yeah. I'm live right now.
Okay, I'm speaking into the Bluetooth. Is that the mic, or this is the phone I'm talking to? Which one is the mic? The both. Which is clearer, this or this? Can you hear me on this one?
Yeah.
But sometimes when I use the Bluetooth, when I'm on my phone, I gotta talk like into the Bluetooth. But I don't know if I have to do that on this. Totally different with a phone call.
No, essentially we're having a group call or a church right now.
Are you on the wall?
Right.
Am I the first one you got on the line, or just starting out? Or? Have you heard from Otis? I looked at his thing. He hasn't done any lives for like a month.
As far as life or live or not live, we're all assumed dead from birth. That's the biggest problem in this charade. And they feel like they have more rights than you because of their assumed position. Now, you and I both know what happens when you assume something, right? Makes the ass out of you and me, right? Assume me. Ask you me. Assume me.
Right,
And
I was like, well,
so I'm walking you through the methodology right now. If that's the assumption they're assuming, and they're assuming that I'm a pimp, then I get to assume that they're prostitutes. It's only fair. They operate assumptions. I'll operate assumptions. Let's see whose assumptions come out on top. I might be over the top. I like using movie titles to really drive home the point, you know? Like, look who's talking now. Or Back to the Future. Let's do that. Let's go back to the future because the past is repeating itself and we're only going to return to the past and do it all over again. Time is looping. People are regressing and regressing. Technology causes regression, cripples the mind, cripples the man. Everybody's disabled and needs a calculator because they can't calculate facts or discern between fiction or sci-fi, fantasy. Can't tell the difference between polarities, heaven, hell, good people or bad. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
when I was in grade school, the teacher taught me that trick about breaking up the word assume and the ass, make the ass out of you and me. So, and she asked me if I did my homework, and she said, I assumed you were going to have it done to me. And I said, well, you know what that makes you.
Right.
Well, I called the teacher an ass. She worked on that new song. Yeah, you're on if you see him. On the show before.
So that's an amazing thing. Anything that I write that you like, Pod, you're invited to make music for it. How about that? That's
Yeah,
my
I thought about that.
yeah.
Your style is very musical.
Yeah. You know,
Like an
we're trying to homebrew everything. Everything, Bud. From the ground up. Meaning the following. Like Grace does video content and I share Grace's video content. Everything I produce is a result of independent media, bypassing large corporations. I'm trying to show you average people are running around essentially all saying the same things and none of them really know each other. Yeah. How many stories are there? One story or two? I think you got your own chapter in the one greater story. You got a verse. Every one of us has a verse. We're conversing and having a conversation. You and I can do this one on one, but a group of 10 or more, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The ego gets in the way. That's why I wear this hat. They're blinded by their ego, blinded by the light. Their ego blinds them from the higher truth that I offer for free. I didn't charge you any money for this. But if you want to help, you help. You help because you want to. free, nothing else.
It's the only one. Yeah, when I get back on the stream, you used to make fun of me before I started supporting you.
That's how we rise, by keeping everything in house.
And
Music.
then I thought, well, I'll just send it to him, and then that'll solve both of our problems. Then I won't be getting insulted anymore, and he'll get some cool shit. Win-win.
It is a win-win. Saving money is no different than making money. You know, I I, I look at everything way different than the average person because the average person doesn't know what fucking poverty tastes like. They don't know what it means to miss a meal or go fucking hungry.
I know what it's like. I got 37 cents in my account today, but I got everything I need.
So welcome to group therapy.
What?
We're having group therapy live.
Yeah, I need some of that.
You know, did you know that male bonding groups are the highest growing groups in America? Brotherhoods and fraternities for higher knowledge, higher power.
You know, the guy that started the men's movement a few decades ago. I don't know if you heard of him, Robert Bly. He wrote a book called Iron John. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, everybody's John or Joe.
Anyway, so Robert Bly wrote a book called Iron John, and they started a men's movement. They called it back in the 1990s, and all the men would get together in the woods and chant and stuff. But anyway, Bly, he's dead now, but he was a famous writer. He's my neighbor. He used to live right down the street from me. You want to talk about your dad?
I don't talk about my dad.
I've heard you mention.
I don't die, but I'd rather him die before I speak to him again. That's just
Where's he at? What does he do? What's he doing?
well, created a replacement family. He fucked up his first family, so he had another one. It is what it is. All men mostly want is family, children. It's pretty normal shit. But society prevents a man from having a family. It's amazing.
How do you have sane children in an insane society?
I don't know why anybody's breeding anymore. I really don't. Caused my caused me to have my first four children. My fifth child, I wanted to educate myself. I thought, my gosh, I could raise this man. I could teach this man to be a man. Because even as a child, he's still a man. Situation where I could read from the back and allow the child to walk, and I had ideas, man, and they stole it from me. And I will never forgive them for it. It's not forgivable. Unforgivable fucking sin. Stealing children. How Christian?
Don't they? did they have to get a court authorization for that, or is just some
Oh, no, they
bureaucrat?
operated under assumptions, and they got the court order after they already did it. So I mean, like, I'd not
Is
put
there?
anything. I'd rather see both parties burn, hang, or die.
I wouldn't they need you to like be able to face the charge of whatever the court decided?
Since 9/11,
Like,
due process is out of the
you
equation.
didn't-
You get to assume a position
if
because
it's
you
a family car-
say or
I'm
fucking
sorry to interrupt.
charge you with it. You're guilty until you fucking prove yourself innocent. And the fucking irony here is I'm sitting here going, hey, if you're gonna sit silent to me, then silently you're fucking guilty. And they all sit silent, so they're all fucking guilty. They don't see humor. They all think they're
Is
sick.
who has the child? Is it CPS or who?
Oh no, they sold my child. They trafficked my son. He's adopted. He got no, I don't even know. No one knows where he is. They stopped answering my calls a year ago. All these good people forgot I had a son stolen from me, and they don't know why I'm angry because they don't listen very well. You know what they about is them fucking sales. It's amazing. Your silence ain't worth defending, America. Fucking is traitorous.
You know, I might be naive, but I didn't know that that was even possible to do that.
No, yeah.
I thought the parents were involved in every adoption.
Oh, yeah, no. Because of COVID, doctors have more authority than parents do. Doctors can sit there and say who's unfit or fit parent without the parent's consent. Doctors get to play fucking God over parents' lives. Doctors get to steal children, snatch their souls, and make soul contracts without parental consent. Sounds like black magic and witchcraft, doctor. Sounds like some fucking satanic shit. Some voodoo. A shot fired in the box. A shot fired in the dot. Not store bought. Dots cannot be bought. Your first dot, you're the man in the box. Jack in the box. Step out of the inside the box. Jack in the box. Not the one stuck inside a fucking box. My thoughts not store bought, not boxed, not gift wrapped and presented in a gift wrapped box. I'm not the one stuck inside a fucking box. My thoughts are not store bought, box goods from box stores. I fired a shot in the dark, Avenging Archangel, air assault apparatus, amateur asshole, Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm my own sponsor. See? They're fucked now. You want to know why they're fucked? They can't even admit I exist. And I'm the realest fucking thing I know. And most people are fake as fuck.
Well, I'm not really familiar. But I always thought the idea was like if a child is being mistreated, they try to like get him back with the mother eventually. I didn't know they could just take.
Oh, they said it's as crazy as the father. Isn't that amazing? Because neither parent side with the state, so they just stole a child from both parents. That's great. Try to see a bigger picture. They just snatched a child in public and no one said a fucking thing. Then they all run around lollygagging, acting like the good goddamn people while they sat silent to child rape, kidnapping, abduction.
Well, that's what I was asking about. Was it Child Protective Services that took him out of the hospital or what?
Yeah. No, doctors have more rights than parents do, and they have more access to the children. They have more rights to the children than parents' rights. Wow. Doctors' rights supersede parents' rights, trump them even. Quality? No. There's no such thing as equality. We have a tiered system based on the education system. Your rights are based on what tier you're on. That's why the fools protected class in society, most censored, deleted, erased. Up next is pedophiles and child predators. You protect them more or just as much. Think about it. Police don't protect the community. They protect politicians and child predators, kitty fuckers. It's amazing. Then, by accident, I realized a lot of children are expressive to the future. If you're raping and fucking them, you're not protecting them. You're leveraging their future. No wonder why you're borrowing from it. When you approach politicians in regards to hyperinflation, the debt ceiling, throwing that money at problems doesn't solve anything. Any of these things, because the only thing they're actually concerned with is taxing you and borrowing your money and never returning it. Huh?
Well, I was asking you about CPS, and you went back to the doctor. Was CPS involved? The reason I asked is because
it's amazing. Because what happens is this. I said this before. Secret Services spies on the parents and informs social services. Social services and then informs doctors that they have feelings and concerns, or it's doctors and concerns. There it is. Doctors and nurses have feelings and concerns. They call child protective services, social services, because they have feelings and concerns. This red flags the system. Don't forget, Secret Services is also spying on the parents and marking down who's dissident and who's compliant. And you split fucking society in two fucking camps. Real simple. Mask wearers and those that don't wear the mask. If you wear a mask, government is your god. The television is your god because the government sponsored the television. If you're not wearing a mask, well, you're an anarchist and you're rebellious to the mask wearing. It was your choice to mask or not mask. It's very Shakespearean. It's divisive. You're in one of two camps: smokers, non-smokers, vaxxers, non-vaxxers. Educated people versus high school dropouts, delinquents and deplorables versus devil dogs.
Well, the reason I said that is because if, Child Protective Services are the last ones that took him, an investigation needs to be done, because that means there's other missing children. Maybe put it like
children are
maybe you could figure out something.
Well, maybe Mainers can figure out why 2,300 children are missing or murdered because of child protective workers. You really care about children, don't you? The traffic protective services and the state is amazing. How many of these children that wind up in orphanages or foster homes because of quote unquote bad parents, or the parents were terrible, so they could put them in a foster home, and the foster care workers do what to the children? Rape them, fuck them, murder them, eat them? Who would know? Nobody. So I see that as a problem. Has to do with integrity or the honor system. How come no one believes a word that comes out of my mouth? See what I mean?
It seems like the only people that are kind of outside of society that's left are the Amish.
Right. And I invite the Amish and the Mennonites to be a part of my movement, Mormons, because they have a lot of cultural similarities, independence, farming for your own food, inbreeding, which is
I've known a lot of people. I've known a lot of people that have gone to the Mormons when they're hungry, and they get more help from the Mormons than any of these other churches when they're struggling, you know.
mandatory equals not a law. Required equals not a law. Mandated equals not a law. Requested equals not a law. Ordered equals not a law. Ordinance equals not a law. Decree equals not a law. Compulsory equals not a law. Statutory mandates, not a law. So compulsory policy. None of it has to do with law. Wearing a mask was a mandate. And it wasn't mandatory. It was mandated. You didn't have to do it. Could have quit your job. Right?
I remember
Like,
being a 50-something-year-old man going shopping, and some little 20-year-old kid coming up to me and telling me to put my mask on.
yeah.
Because he works at the store for minimum wage.
And he thinks it's the law because of his public indoctrination or misinformation, disinformation, public indoctrination, mental manipulation, molding of an mind that doesn't know anything, had no way to challenge anything. They assume a position thinking that their corporate masters were truthful to them. That's ridiculous.
Well, I remember early on, Fauci came out and said, "Don't worry about wearing a mask." And I was like, "Oh, I'm relieved," because like over in Japan and Asia, they wear masks all the time over there. Like in China, they wear them on the subway and on the buses.
Yeah.
And so I was relieved. I was like, "Oh, good, Fauci isn't going to make America wear masks." And then like a month later, he says, "All right, you got to wear your mask and wear 2 masks." So he was on every side of every issue. That's how they get everybody, because they just say both sides of the issue. So no matter what side the people are on, they're confused. Everybody thought Fauci was the good guy, even after what he did during the AIDS crisis. And Terry Mullis died. If you look into Terry Mullis, he died right before COVID. He said that DNA testing is worthless.
Did you know that it was Fauci? It was Fauci that created the testing strips for HIV and AIDS, just like COVID. Fauci created the test for both viruses. Did you know that?
Well, they created the virus.
I want to show you how he's making his money, though. He's making his money. Fauci is making his money off of the testing strips. I want you to think about it. Imagine every person in the world in the back of your head, right? Just every individual in the world that got tested, right? And some people got tested 2 times, 3, or 4. You know what I mean? So think about that.
And it was a totally bogus test.
Right. And who's in control of the testing strip? Fauci. Who has a patent on the COVID testing strips? Fauci.
They were having parties where individuals testing each other. They would buy a bunch of testing strips and they'd get a bunch of people together and they'd all test each other. They weren't even nurses.
Fauci gets the royalty every time they use a testing strip.
He gets royalties for a bunch of vaccines too.
But just think how much money that is. You know?
How much money can he spend? He's like 90 or 100 years old.
Right? It's amazing. So Fauci made all kinds of money off the testing strip and royalties. Then he merchandised himself. Fauci coffee cups, Fauci t-shirts, Fauci hats. In Fauci we trust. Trust in Fauci. Yeah. And then he said wear one mask, and then they said one mask wasn't enough, you need two. And then he said you could do your safeguard by wearing the three. I mean, come on here.
If you look at the guy's face, he looks just like a rat.
He looks like a goddamn rat.
That's what I said. He's like a cartoon rat character from Disney or something. I'm going to have to head out in a minute. My dog's barking at me. I promised to take him out for a run today.
Oh, shit.
You hear him barking at me? I told him right before I took the call, so he's been waiting the whole time.
It's wild, man. The whole thing is...
Yeah, and they do all their psyops in Minnesota where I live. With George Floyd, now they got a new one going on, trying to start riots.
Renee Jackson's the next George Floyd.
They just released the video of the guy that shot her. He was holding a cell phone camera the whole time. They just released the video from his camera, supposedly.
It's wild.
He said on the video he shot her, and then the car took off. She was already dead. Her foot probably just hit the accelerator, and she was dead. And as the car was driving away, the cop that shot her said, "Fucking bitch." And the car kind of knocked the camera. And so with that video, they're probably going to let the cop off. And now they're going to have riots because they're letting the cop off. And it's crazy.
There's another excuse to burn buildings in Minnesota.
Yeah. How did I end up in Minnesota? Everything happens here, evidently. Or Maine. They're always talking about Maine and Minnesota.
I mean, Maine and Minnesota.
They know that the masters are there. So they got to fuck with us.
It's amazing. And everything happening here is it's a mirror expression of what's happening in the United Kingdom too. No different. No different at all. It's like,
we're having kind of a mild. We're having a mild winter. It's been around 32 for the last few days.
yeah. Yeah, this morning it was 2 degrees outside. Holy shit. Now it's up to 38. But this morning fucking 2 degrees. I could almost see my breath in the house. I had to turn the electric oven on to warm up the house, for a minute because just the radiator heat wasn't quite cutting it. So I had to do both. Take the chill out of the air. Holy shit. Crazy.
Well, usually if January is below 0 months, this January's warm.
I agree it's been warm, but still, holy shit, 2 degrees.
That's nothing for Minnesota. I thought you guys would get below and all that in the winter. No.
Predictive programming is ridiculous. Political parties, political peoples, political pimps, political prostitutes, propagandists pushing policies, procedures, protocol. Police don't protect anyone. They follow and push, force police policies and procedures and protocols, y'all. You vote for them. It's amazing. They trick you into voting for the shit with even water. Silently consenting to the protocols of Zion. Right? Isn't that shit wild?
Yep.
Zionism is a belief system. Right? Add ism to things and it's a system of belief. Did you know that? Zionism is a belief system. Well, what about Islamism or Gnosticism, shamanism, Taoism, tourism? You see, I-ism. So let's look up a couple of these isms. Zionism. A movement for the reestablishment and development and protection of Jewish nation in what is now Israel. It was established as a political organization in 1897 under Theodor Herzl and was led by Chaim, Chaim Weizmann. All right, so there's Zionism. Definition of Zionism. Okay.
Yeah.
Gnosticism, meaning a Prometic heretic movement of the 2nd century Christian church, partly of pre-Christian origin. Gnostic doctrine taught the Word was created and ruled by a lesser divinity, the demiurge, and that Christ was an emissary of the remote supreme divine being. Esoteric knowledge, gnosis, of whom enabled the redemption of the human spirit or soul. Soul and spirit are similar in meaning. What do you think about that?
Well, isn't it funny how they demonized the Gnostics, and they were the earliest Christians? And they demonized them when they Romanized the church. But the Gnostics were the originals.
Now shamanism, right? Because I always said my granddaddy was a shaman. Shamanism. Shamanism is an ancient cross-cultural spiritual practice centered on a shaman, a spiritual leader and intermediary who enters altered states, trances, drumming, chanting to a journey to spirit worlds for healing, guidance, divination, and community well-being, connecting humans to nature and the unseen realms through rituals, nature-based wisdom, and relationships with spirit, existing worldwide in various forms. Shamanism. Shamanism is closely related to Gnosticism. Pod. They're not afraid I'm wrong. They're afraid I'm right. They're not afraid I'm wrong. They're afraid I'm right.
You think it's an artificial matrix? Like they're just doing an experiment on us, or like a test and watching us?
So, well, hold on. Let me show you a couple more definitions. Taoism, and I'm recording this. You know what I mean? It's on YouTube and Facebook. Taoism meaning. Remember, any ism is a belief system. Taoism.
All right, I'm gonna shut my mic off.
Be based on the writing of Long Shu, advocating humility and religious piety, means egoless behavior, to behave without ego. That's Taoism. Tourism. Because all of these words apply to every single person that hears this stream. You know what I mean? Applies to every single individual. Individualism. Tourism is the activity of traveling for pleasure, business, or other purposes involving staying outside of one's usual environment, supporting industries like hotels and transport, and driving economic growth through leisure, cultural exchange, and job creation, with types including domestic, international, adventure, and ecotourism, all shaped by technology focused on sustainable practices. That applies to everybody. It's another ism. Consumerism. Consumerism definition. Consumerism is a socio-economic idea that increased consumption of goods and services is desirable, linking personal well-being and happiness to consumption and acquisition of material possessions, and driving economic growth through spending money. It's cultural, where buying things becomes central to identity, social status, and the good life, often fueled by advertising in advanced industrial societies because of secret societies. Now, is that a conspiracy or reality? Man, I surprised no one answered the phone. When you're truthful, no one's home. ET phone home, pick up the phone, home alone. Hello.
I was just gonna say I'm still here, but I'm gonna shut my mic off because I'm about to get on the bike with the dog, but I'm listening.
Yeah, you're good, man. But I'm just showing you that there's no safety in numbers. So when you learn this behavior and realize it, man, everyone's scared of you. You don't need their approval. You don't need their consent. Didn't change anything if you like or hate. Messaging didn't change anything. Facts are still facts. They didn't deviate. They didn't change magically. It's just wild. Right? Call them the runaways. Run, 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 run away. Run, 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 run away. Looks like I live to fight another day because all the dogs want to run, 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 run away. How are the dogs of Rome doing today? Said Matthew Jerome. Did you know that all roads lead to Rome? There's no place like home. Did you know that Joe Dirt said that home is where you make it, and I don't want to see any fucking homos naked? Did you know that? Shit's hilarious. Civil War, people. Wow.
People, they're throwing stuff at the SUV. The press is out there wearing body armor. This is wild. Was that window broken? This is insane. How do you live in a place like this? Meanwhile, the governor's out there saying his own National Guard troops are ready to do something.
The Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops.
Okay.
They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight.
Well, that's what you're using it as, to save yourself. Political games are precisely why you've got these mobs storming a courthouse and an ICE detention facility. Look at this. We got security trying to hold them back. These people are wild. Look at this. They're banging on the door with their fists. You're telling me this isn't political? You're telling me these people aren't out here because they're not believing the lies of their politicians who are trying to save their own skin and trying to save and stay in power? That's what this is about. If you want to see what Tim Walz is going to do, this is it. He's not going without a fight. This is his fight, because these riots might be the one thing that saves some of these people from a federal investigation, or so they think.
And so it is not helpful for us to have ICE agents unlawfully just carrying out these ridiculous raids that are not resulting in any sort of arrests, that have no explanation of why they are there. They are disturbing peaceful communities that are just
These are not peaceful communities.
Live out their lives. And
these are violent communities.
Our mayor and our senator in asking
No,
them
you're not
to get
asking
the
them.
heck out of
You're
our
attacking
city.
them and chanting things and not standing down. This is the most frightening thing going on in America right now.
Here's a harsh and sad reality. When you have a Minnesota governor and a Minneapolis mayor simping for Somalia,
Right.
instead of simping for American citizens,
Right, which is where they're
there's
elected.
no hope for that state. That state is gone. You might as well say that the United States only has 49 states,
Right.
because it's no longer governed for the benefit of Americans. It has not been taken over by Somalis. Anytime
That's what
any
people are saying.
residents of that particular state is residing in a state, feel no longer protects them
They
as
gotta move.
citizens, as residents of that state, all hope is gone.
Right.
They might as well just pack it up and try and look for other states that are going to accept them.
But doing that would just reward these sanctuary leaders by keeping them in power.
The
Look at
images
this.
on the screen. There's that flag you were talking about being burned here. What
They
kind of
don't
things are
love
they
America,
shouting?
these
The
people.
crowd that's out there. I know they're obviously not happy ICE is there. They've been talking about that.
Right.
What are they saying? You know, what's the energy like where you are right now?
I mean, they look depressed
So that's one
and
reason why I'm
militant.
not getting too close, so I can hear all of you, because it is loud out here. It's profanity. There's a lot of profanities against ICE.
Meanwhile, Governor
Don't take the
Walz,
bait.
there's a little fear in his voice. Listen to
Do
this.
not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state. And let's let this investigation play itself out.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we protect
That's not what he wants, though.
I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights, but do so in a peaceful manner.
Yeah,
we'll
which they
gather
are.
back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again,
this is such doublespeak. On the one hand, he says, look, I've got my own National Guard troops ready to go, but you use your First Amendment rights, but do it peacefully. But we're going to fight this thing. And the worst government ever, the federal government, is coming after us, and they're just pure evil, but be peaceful. And I've got my own troops ready to go. You see what's happening?
Now, DHS is claiming this was all in self-defense from ICE's perspective, but videos like this one led many, quote, garbage. The scene remained very active.
They're attacking their own
with
cops.
Angry protesters demanding local police arrest the ICE officer involved. At one point, as federal agents tried to clear the scene, they did deploy tear gas and other chemical agents. The man who shot that video,
their own police are hated.
He can't believe
by these mobs. And you know why that is? Because their own police aren't out there taking up arms against the federal government. These mobs, they really believe, these people, they think that because they pay taxes to the state of Minnesota, that there should be some army, some militia force that's ready to defend Minnesota against the federal government of the country that protects Minnesota and helps it exist as a state and keeps it on its own 2 feet. And the same federal government that empowered Minnesota to get this way, with all the money it recklessly allowed Minnesota to distribute to fraudsters.
Back at the Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis, it was a case of deja vu. Hi, this is Eric Rasmussen with KSTP Channel 5. We're still waiting for a response to our calls and emails looking for an explanation about what 5 Investigates found Wednesday morning. A search of the state's online system reveals Quality Learning Center now closed as of January 6th. A 180-degree turn after our cameras recorded a parade of parents and children into the business last week. The owners used that to refute a viral YouTube video claiming to expose empty daycares, collecting millions of taxpayer dollars.
Someone came to our building outside of operating hours.
So why is the daycare suddenly closed again? The Department of Children, Youth, and Families would only tell 5 Investigates that Quality Learning...
You know why this place is closed? This place is closed because it has to look like something is being done to stop fraud in Minnesota. It's not closed because it wasn't empty. It was empty for a long time, but now they have to do something to make it look like, oh yeah, we care about fraud too here.
That Quality Learning Center requested closure of their license on Tuesday.
They requested it. They didn't even get shut down.
From the daycare's owner.
They requested
when property records led us to this
State
house
didn't
in
even get them.
Shoreview looking for answers.
What do you make of the fact that right after that big scene last week that they're closed again?
Right. They were never legit.
Well, to me, that's where there's smoke, there's fire. Perhaps they're trying to avoid something.
Right.
State Rep Nolan West says questions about Quality Learning Center prompted him to send a letter to the head of DCYF demanding more transparency and accountability when it comes to which licensed daycare providers in Minnesota are actually open.
The state doesn't
a question KSTP has been asking for a long time.
Right. Every time they go to these places, they're empty. The state has no idea which places are open, which places are closed. They gave out so many licenses, they can't even keep track of all the fraudulent businesses in this place.
Since reporter Jay Coles found empty daycares receiving taxpayer funding a year ago.
A year. These places have been empty for years.
Come out of your letter, our reporting, all this attention.
Well, the idea is we need this to be taken seriously because we need bipartisan cooperation to pass any law in Minnesota. And clearly, we are in need of more anti-fraud measures.
How are you going to get bipartisan support to pass laws in Minnesota where the fraud benefits one partisan aisle of the political spectrum here to the detriment of the others? Every dollar of fraud is a victory for one political party in this state over another. You're not going to get bipartisan support to shut that down. Why would one political party shut down its road to victory? They're not going to do that, not willingly.
This cannot be real life. Introduce you to Abdi Desaitin. Abdi is currently running for state Congress in Minnesota, and he is a Somali business owner. What type of business do you think he owns? Come on, just take a guess. Yeah, he owns the Blooming Kids Child Care Center. I seriously wish I was making that up. Now, how many violations do you think the Blooming Kids Child Care Center has received over the last 3 years?
More than zero.
82. when they don't just get caught doing one thing bad. So they've received violations for a variety of things. No first aid kits, unsanitary conditions, no supervision for the kids.
Well, what does that matter if there aren't any kids inside? Why do they need first aid kits if the place is empty?
They got called out for not having any furniture, not having any furnishings, not having any equipment, not having any toys. They actually got caught not even having a single chair.
Because no one was sitting
in the entire facility. Like, literally, this building was just bare bones and empty. And they claim to take care of 150 plus children and receive millions of dollars in taxpayer funding every year. Now the guy that owns that is probably going to be in Minnesota's Congress.
And what type of laws do you think he's going to want to pass? What type of new initiatives for caring for the community do you think these individuals are going to be willing to vote on?
That's right. A lot of details here because really, according to prosecutors, Brian, there's just so much fraud here in the state. Now they're looking at the state's Attorney General, Keith Ellison. Why? Because the state's top cop here in Minnesota was caught in an audio recording behind closed doors, meeting with a group of soon-to-be convicted Somali fraudsters.
Oh, really?
They were asking the Attorney General for help to get more funding.
Wow.
Listen to this.
And they recorded it.
The only way we can protect what we have is by inserting ourselves into the political arena, putting our votes where it needs to be, but most importantly, putting our dollars in the right place.
Can't make this up.
Candidates that will fight to protect our interests.
That's right.
You can only protect our interests when we have your back, and you don't have to worry about who's behind you.
Wow. That
and
happened.
Also, this group was talking about, as you heard there, supporting his campaign.
And he's supposed to shut down the fraud. He's supposed to prosecute the fraudsters. How's he going to do that if they've just purchased him as their attorney general?
Keith Ellison is pushing back on this. He said that he takes fraud seriously.
Really?
He shared in an op-ed writing this: I took a meeting in good faith with people I didn't know, and some turned out to have done some bad things. I did nothing for them, and I took nothing from them.
That's not what it sounded like.
Some of those now convicted Somali fraudsters did donate money to Ellison's campaign, according to documents obtained by the Center for the American Experiment. Ellison reportedly later gave the money back because those people were convicted. Fox obtained entire, pretty much almost an hour-long clip of this meeting, so there's so much in it.
This woman got convicted too.
This woman, Amy Bach, she was convicted in this massive Feeding Our Future scam. That's how it all started. Bach's behind bars, and her legal team says, where's the accountability for Governor Walz and the Attorney General?
None.
They knew that this was going on. He says nothing happened until the feds stepped in.
Right. And that's why there's riots to try and push the feds out. That's why there's a civil war going on in Minnesota, because the people who are getting busted with the walls closing in on them, they don't want any more investigations. They want this all to be over so they can walk free.
Do you think some of these politicians should be held accountable?
I would like to see someone in the state. I don't care whether it's the governor, I don't care whether it's the attorney general, someone take responsibility.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Trump says Tim Walz was caught, quote, red-handed for his role in the fraudulent Somali scams plaguing Minnesota for more than a decade. Governor Walz is not running for re-election. He says he's going to take accountability, but the White House says that's not going to shield you from the investigation.
I'm not going anywhere.
It shouldn't.
You can make all your requests for me to resign over my dead body. Will that happen? I will fight this thing till
so he's going to fight
to make this state better. And the question that I think they need to decide is when did the guy in the White House resign?
Wow. Oh, so it's not about me resigning. It's about Trump resigning. Because you know what? According to all these fraudsters in Minnesota, the only fraud and criminal activity in this country is coming from the White House, who just happens to be looking into their actual fraud and shutting it down. Remember, none of this was supposed to happen. Tim Walz was supposed to be VP. This fraud was supposed to continue forever and come to your state, too.
Okay, so that's his response as this ongoing fraud scandal continues. The DOJ is going to send more prosecutors here to the state, which prosecutors on the ground have already said they needed because there's just so much fraud to investigate. Also, that audio clip that we just played for you, that's going to be mentioned in today's hearing. So it's something to keep an eye on with Ellison. Back to you.
These people are criminals, man.
Great job out there, Alexis. So when it comes to Attorney General, if you didn't know these people, why did you promise them that you were going to protect them? Why did you take a meeting and tell those people that? And then the second thing is happening is, so the attorney is saying, my client is not going to be the only person to go down for this. So they want the politicians now. That's what happened when you capture someone that has committed an offense. Everybody wants a deal. So they start seeing it. So now you're going to have the criminals that got the money. They're going to start telling us, What politicians help protect them?
Yep.
The Lewiston had one of the worst mass shootings in our country's history. There was the Maine Community Foundation. They promised everybody that all of the monies were going to go to the victims and their families. About 30%, 1.9 million, went not to the families and victims, but went to nonprofits. And we found that at least 9 of them were immigrant-focused. At least 7 of them were Somali-linked nonprofits. One of those nonprofits is the Lewiston Auburn Youth Network. The Somali man who runs it, Imam Osman, sworn in as city councilor this week.
Imam Osman faced questions about his residency and appeared in court this week on separate criminal gun charges.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to be talking about your girl, Janet Mills, the governoress of Maine, and what's going on in that state, y'all. And it seems to me, with all of the talk of fraud in certain communities, it seems to me that what has happened is one of two things or both. It seems like they have allowed nonprofit money to flow into the hands of certain people, certain communities on purpose, in order to gain the goodwill of those communities for votes, for political influence, and maybe even for campaign donations and kickbacks. That's one thing. And it also seems like the authorities have become aware of fraud and of misuse of certain funds. And in order to not be called the R word, y'all, you think very hard. In order to not be called people who would discriminate against others, in order to avoid that terrible label, they have allowed fraud and misuse to continue. Because again, if they were to come out and say, hey, y'all shouldn't be doing that, then people would say, that's, you know what the word is. So I think that is what has happened here. And I think that in one of the most egregious of the situations that I've seen, money that was meant to go to people who were victims of one of the worst mass shootings this country has ever seen, the Lewiston, Maine mass shooting, money that was meant 100% to go to the victims, of which there were 17 or 18 people killed, numerous other people injured, families left without fathers, without children, without moms, without aunts and uncles, people who were supporting those families. This money was supposed to go directly to the victims, people who had to have surgeries, people who had to pick up their lives. And guess where some of the money was diverted to? I'll give you a hint. It was nonprofits of certain groups. So that is really one of the most disturbing things about that, y'all. We're going to take a look at that today. And finally, we're going to take a look at the sudden downfall of a Maine politician who was leading up one of those nonprofits that got their grubbies on some of that money that was supposed to go to the mass shooting victims, y'all. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. But before we do, y'all, you know that we are a paralegal school. If you've been watching our program now, you know that we've been around for 23 years. You know that we help people get going in the paralegal field. You know that we've helped hundreds of people since 2003 start their career in the paralegal field or even move up in their career. Our certificate is good nationwide, and our program comes with an internship placement so that you'll get real resume. If you're interested, y'all, we are running a discount for all of our YouTube subscribers. Click the first link down in the description. Join us. New year, y'all, new career. Now let's go ahead and get into the story.
And tonight, all 18 of the people shot and killed have now been identified. They range in age from 14 to 76. Emily Ikeda with their stories tonight.
18 lives gone too soon. Their family and friends now facing the unfathomable.
The Lewiston had one of the worst mass shootings in our country's history. The country rallied behind, raised a bunch of money, over $6 million. There was the Maine Community Foundation. They promised everybody that all of the monies were going to go to the victims and their families. Well, it turns out that about 30%, 1.9 million, went not to the families and victims, but went to nonprofits. And we found that at least 9 of them were immigrant-focused. At least 7 of them were Somali-linked nonprofits. Now, one of those nonprofits is the Lewiston Auburn Youth Network. They received $65,000. The Somali man who runs it, Imam Osman, sworn in as city councilor this week. He stepped down this morning. And so we've done some digging. He's facing felony gun charges. He has pled not guilty to that.
So Iman Osman was elected to a Maine local government while he's currently facing gun charges. Okay, but he's indicted, but he has not been convicted of anything, hasn't even gone to trial. But also apparently in order to, I don't know if it's in order to get into that district or into that area where he ran, he reportedly used an address of a condemned building. So does he even live in that district? Is that a qualification in order for him to run for that office? Lots of questions here, y'all, but they did get their grubbies on some of that money for the shooting victims.
We're also following a developing story out of Lewiston, where the city council now has an open seat after one of its newest members announcing today he is resigning amid controversy.
Iman Osman faced questions about his residency and appeared in court this week on separate criminal gun charges. CBS 13's Max Williams joins us live in the studio tonight.
And Max, you spoke with the mayor today. What was his reaction?
Greg, the mayor has been calling for Osman to step down since the now former counselor was indicted, calling the situation a distraction for the city.
Congratulations. Thank you.
It's only been 3 days since Iman Osman was sworn in to represent Ward 5 in Lewiston, but that was brought to an abrupt halt after sending this resignation letter today to the council, saying he is stepping down, effective immediately.
I'm excited to put this behind us.
Osman says in his letter that during his time in public office, he has faced vicious personal attacks.
Were you aware of those attacks at all? Did he mention those to you?
I am aware of the personal attacks that he's received, and it's absolutely horrible.
Osman's resignation comes just a day after he pleaded not guilty to an indictment on gun charges.
The law did not prevent us from swearing him in. He was duly elected by Ward 5 residents.
There were also questions surrounding his legal address that trace back to a condemned building.
So in the wake of the fact that his nonprofit got shooting victim money, in the wake of the fact that he has apparently 2 gun charges that he's trying to fight, in the wake of the fact that it looks like he might have used an address of a condemned building, maybe in order to qualify to run for that position, he has stepped down. And now the main shooting victims are coming out and saying, yo, why did y'all give our money away to those guys?
He ran for city council here using an address that is a condemned chicken restaurant. I went there and looked inside earlier. This is his nonprofit received the $65,000 from the Lewiston Victims Fund when survivors like Jennifer Zenka, shot twice, received a mere $32,000 and couldn't pay for her surgeries. Take a listen.
It didn't really hit me and really upset me until I was in a position with a $93,000 hospital bill that I couldn't cover.
What do you think happened here?
They raised money for nonprofits on the backs of 18 people who were murdered, 13 people who were shot, and 136 people who escaped their attempted murder. They used that to raise money for nonprofits.
In Minnesota, they're stealing from the taxpayers. In Maine, they're stealing from the taxpayers and victims of a massacre.
So why they received this money is just disturbing. Why this man's nonprofit received these monies is a big, giant question mark. Why he was even put on the city council here raises even more questions. When, Elizabeth, I went to the city clerk today. It took me 2 seconds to get his bond sheet. Back to you.
At a fake address that's really a condemned chicken restaurant, Rich, you can't make it out.
So in our last report on this, we said how even Janet Mills, the governoress of Maine, apparently has had ties to a lot of this, let's say, suspicious activity. So it, this looks like certain communities. Again, I'm not gonna go around naming them. Y'all can draw your own conclusions. But it looks like certain communities just kind of have these situations that keep popping up. And it looks like the governmental officials are also complicit. It looks like there's a really strong desire to not be seen as being opposed to certain communities, which is allowing them to play that card when they have to,
or just people who are afraid that card can be played.
For me, knowledge is power.
So there are two separate but related entities in this story about alleged Medicaid fraud. The first is that LLC, Gateway Community Services, and the other is a nonprofit, Gateway Community Services Maine. The LLC is the one under investigation for possible fraud.
The nonprofit is also under investigation. That is by the U.S. House Oversight Committee.
This particular location and Gateway Community Services, it's a Somali Democrat Medicaid fraud because this is an organization with elaborate and extensive ties to the Maine Democratic Party, including Governor Janet Mills and her administration.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today's video, I need you to really focus in. I need you to pay attention because this is going to get a little bit convoluted. It's going to be a little deep, but it's really, this is where the nexus of the NGOs, the fraud money, and the politicians all come together so that you start getting a clearer idea of the allegations that are being made that the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, also some of these daycare centers, also some of these medical providers, that some of this money is going out of the country, that some of this money is just going to people buying luxury goods, and that some of this money is being circled back around to politicians for their campaigns, etc., y'all. And today there are allegations that your girl, Janet Mills of Maine, the governoress of Maine, that she has participated in the fraud, essentially, okay? That she has either participated directly or that she's participated indirectly and benefited from the fraud that has occurred in her state, or the alleged fraud that has occurred in her state. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break it down using different news reports today. It's a little bit convoluted, as I've said, but we're going to do our best to break it down so you can see how these things work. And it's probably going to knock your socks off because you're going to say, wow, I didn't know people could be so corrupt. You're going to say, wow, I didn't know people would go to these extents. But hey, it is what it is, and we have to learn from it. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, y'all, you know that we are a paralegal school. If you've been watching our program now, you know that we've been around for 23 years. You know that we help people get going in the paralegal field. You know that we've helped hundreds of people since 2003 start their career in the paralegal field or even move up in their career. Our certificate is good nationwide, and our program comes with an internship placement so that you'll get real experience on your resume. If you're interested, y'all, we are running a discount for all of our YouTube subscribers. Click the first link down in the description. Join us. New year, y'all. New career. Now let's go ahead and get into the story.
New England's Homeland Security Investigations Unit is taking a closer look at Maine businesses.
The agency shared these photos on X, reminding employers that hiring unauthorized workers carries serious penalties and can undermine national security. The agency says it is auditing companies to check for fraud and whether workers are legally employed. We reached out to authorities asking for an interview, but we have not yet heard back. However, we were able to confirm with a spokesperson for Gateway Community Services, LLC, that its Lewiston location did get a visit from Homeland Security agents.
The spokesperson could not confirm when agents were there, but Homeland posted those photos Tuesday. That same healthcare company is facing accusations of MaineCare fraud, and it's fighting back against those accusations from Republican lawmakers.
So you're going to be hearing this name a lot, Gateway Community Services. But see, the way they structured this business, y'all, is they set up a for-profit business, an LLC, but they also set up a nonprofit by the same name in the same building, practically the same office, apparently. So now you have Gateway, which is a nonprofit, and you have Gateway, which is a for-profit, which people are saying helps with the alleged fraud.
Nonprofits and forming Medicaid agencies. The particular agency in question is called Gateway Community Services. And it's a for-profit company that just has a 501c3 filing in order to accept grant money when you need a C3 filing. But it has an office on Canal Street in Lewiston. And I was actually on site there investigating and doing some monologues in front of the building when about 15 HSI agents rolled up with what appeared to be a search warrant. It looked like they were coming there to take away computers and filing cabinets. And what's interesting about that building, Guy, is it's kind of a nexus for a host of migrant-run NGOs. There's the Maine Immigrant Right Coalition there, Generational NOR, a bunch of home health care agencies that also bill Medicaid, or as we call it in Maine, MaineCare. So this is a building that serves as kind of a catch-all space for tons of migrant organizations.
So the allegation here is that the for-profit business can get certain types of funding, so that money would come in, but other types of funding, let's say grants, might only apply to a nonprofit. So you set up your nonprofit so you can get that money too. And in the middle of all of this, according to this commentator, is the Maine Democratic Party headed by Governess Janet Mills. So they import the migrants, they get migrant funding, and then they use Gateway to start to distribute that money. And of course, that comes back in the form of votes. It comes back in the form of goodwill.
Yes, it's really great will for the people that live here. When you bring in foreign labor, cheaper labor with lesser skills, lesser trade, lesser craft under their belt, so you can pay them lesser wages. Democrats have no interest in prosperity. Democrats are solely interested on raping, destroying this country, and profiting off of cheap labor or fucking slavery. Isn't that amazing? You thought they ended slavery? What about involuntary servitude or debt servitude? If you're in debt to someone else, you can't work for yourself. You're indentured. You're a debt slave. Amazing, huh? Watch out for that one.
We've got to get into this thing called life. Electric word, life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The afterworld. A world of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun. Day or night. So when you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, you know the one, Dr. Everything be all right. Still asking how much of your time is left, asking how much of your mind, baby. Just in this life, think of the heart in the afterworld. This life, yo. In the elevator tries to break you down. Go crazy. Watch your higher roar.
Right? Shit's wild.
I'm sitting down with basic.
Nope. Wrong one. Yeah. I don't know about y'all, but silence doesn't change anything at all. Never has, never will. Doesn't prevent anything. Silence prevents change from happening. It's amazing. Said the only change that occurs that I believe in is the change I finance with a change in my pocket. Funny how that works out. They don't believe it. The only thing the Democrats have done in my existence is caused the moral decay, decrepitude, deindustrialization, poverty, and created and managed a welfare state that benefited the party. It didn't benefit individuals, not really. No. Your policies actually prevent prosperity from happening. It's amazing. You benefit off of controlling people and feeding them free bread and water in a Roman circus. Democrats are interested in making you compete with the Chinese, which is why Walmart and George Soros financed the No Kings movement back in June. Remember that? And I conveniently established the opposition party to the No Kings movement, calling it the No Kings movement to mock it. Amazing. Take it to market, patent it, merchandises. Wow. You know, silence is a sign of consent, subjugation, subjugated subjects suffering silently Stockholm syndrome because they're sex slaves, corporate whores, prostitutes that sold their asshole for $1. I'll buy that for $1. Huh? What? No. shit.
يا عمي يا بتاع الحشيش انا عايز حشيشة طرية استنى يا بريل ده الواجب ده عليا الحشيشة اللي في جيبه غير الحشيشة اللي في ايديا دي الحشيشة اللي بجيبه غير الحشيشة اللي في ايديا ونستبح انا وانت ونولع الدنيا ونشرب الصفة حلوة ونسميها كاليفورنيا.
You're looking at the last of a dying breed. Weed it up, please speed it up. Sitting in the Cali sun, beat it up. Indoor, needle up. Rocket style, John cheetled up. I put the fear of God in people. What? People looking at me sideways, like I'm on the birds, like I'm on the birds. Eyes blazed, I don't say the word. You don't wanna follow me, son. You ain't got the nerve. You just wanna swerve with the little herb. Absurd, got you paranoid in the paragraph. When I paraphrase, got a paranoid, it's dancing on your fucking face. Paralyzed, see the paranormal, paratruths, summoned by the grandmaster. As he prepares to loose, temple doors open up, smoke billows out. Now you're hoping but for mercy, get your soul billowed out from another hood. You ain't really fucking with the brotherhood. Even if another could, I wish a motherfucker would. Clip it up or sip it up. Listen, I prefer to trip it up. Damn, Skippy, y'all bitter fucks. I can take a bigger chunk. And if I'm calling dog figures up, don't make a move, they like trick us up, mugs.
Hey, Andrew. I kicked everybody's ass, huh? Ginger magic. I even took away sexist and racist. I left them with no vocabulary to speak for themselves. Do you like the bridal of Christ? It compels you to keep your mouth shut. It's amazing. Right? What do you think that COVID mask was all about? Silent subjugation? Silent sex slaves? Suffering silently, Stockholm Syndrome. Who wants to be a sex slave? Crazy. Who wants to be a prostitute? A corporate hooker, suffering from corporate whorism. It's amazing, right? I don't understand why you listen to or follow people that want to see you living in poverty. Oh, man, no fucking sense to me. None. Nothing anyone is doing makes a goddamn lick of sense to me. Common sense? Sure, you don't have it. Comprehension of common law? Most people forgot what common law is. Closely associated with law of the land or natural law. It's always about the law. Two parties twist and distort the law for a political profit. Never helps me. Doesn't help any of you. So you're not working for me, you're working against me. Isn't that transparent enough for you? I don't have transparency issues. The majority do. Huh? Not amazing? Why would I vote for or follow people that are lying to me for a profit to just... You gotta think about these things. I wonder how much good money the good people are making off of my son. Guardian items, the caseworkers, the judges, the district attorneys, the attorney generals, the prosecutors, the social service workers, child protective service workers, the hospitals, the nurses. My gosh, how much money do you make off of stealing children? You don't protect children from anything. You harvest them, you steal them, you abort them, and you leverage their future. You steal it from them. So ultimately, you don't do anything for the children. You prep them to be the next generation of fucking rape victims. Does silence make you a rape victim? Am I the therapist in the room? Wild. It's transparent to me that both parties are actively working against me in a conspiracy to kill the king, the one that's talking. The mad fool king of Babylon. Make your delusions your reality. Isn't that funny? When was the last time America had a king? It's not worth thinking on. Later.